Pope Francis in hosting an event for members of the LGBTQ community. Pope Leo invited 48 transgender women to lunch at the Vatican this weekend, with one big difference this year. There were no transgender women seated at the Pope's table, unlike in years past. Some Vatican observers say this could be a sign Pope Leo will be more restrained than Pope Francis in his dealings with the LGBTQ+ community.
It's 7:38. We have a lot going on, so we're going to start off and go to Marin County, and I believe that Highway 37 is okay, but 101 is slow from Roland Boulevard all the way down, and now we have a new crash southbound 101 at Sir Francis Drake Boulevard. If you're in Marin, you should give yourself more time. We also do have traffic that is going to be busy in San Francisco, northbound 101. There's a truck accident as you get onto the Bay Bridge, so leaving San Francisco or even getting into it on 101 is slow. And of course, the Bay Bridge has been slow from earlier crashes. We had an earlier crash on it much earlier, but it's backed up beyond the maze. 24 is still recovering from an earlier crash near the Caldecott Tunnel, and 680 and Highway 4 are slow. Just a lot of slow traffic, a lot of fender benders. It is not a good drive today. Now, let's bring Steve back in with today's weather.
All right, Sal, we will get right to the rainfall totals. Everyone wants to see their town. I do my best to represent as many as I can. Mount Veeder, thank you, Justin, 2.7, 2 3/4. Oakland Avenue, there was one site off of International Boulevard and another one near 66th Avenue, and I kind of split the difference. Now, that's a combination of Sunday and also this morning. 2 1/3, West Healdsburg 2.14, Cazadero 2.13. Some other locations, most locations were around 3/4 of an inch to about 1.5 inches, but we will start with Marin County. Mount Tamalpais now over 2 1/4, Sausalito 1.58, Terra Linda 1.25 inches, Mill Valley 1.14, and San Rafael just over 1 inch at 1.02. Boulder Creek 185, Pacifica 1.78. Richmond almost 1.5 inches, Santa Rosa 1.33 inches, Yountville over 1 inch, and Hayward was close at 98 1/100. Other locations checking in: Ben Lomond 2 1/4, Calistoga, thank you Gary Converse 1.83, SFO 1.25 inches, Berkeley 86 1/100, Napa 83. The city had about 3/4 of an inch, and same as you had other locations, including San Ramon at about 3/4, and same for Petaluma. 50s on the temps, everyone's close. There's just not much separation. Unfortunately, it's raining at South Lake Tahoe. It's raining at Blue Canyon. There's drizzle and fog at Truckee, but the colder air should eventually get there by this afternoon, so winter weather advisory's out. I think it'll get down to around 4,800, 5,000 feet, but right now any snow is kind of a wet Sierra cement. Front blasted through. Now we get the instability behind that. There's this cold system dropping right over us later today, so thunderstorms a possibility. Heaviest rain looks to be south more so than north, so I'll buy into that for now. One more system on Thursday. It'll be similar to this one. It'll be a low right over us, another cold one. Then after that, should get a break into the weekend. But beyond that, there's too many signs that say more rain's on the way. Sort of a stormy Monday. It'll be colder, that's for sure. Temperatures will struggle to get out of the upper 50s, low 60s. Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll get a little bit of a break. I mean, it won't be clear, that's for sure. Then here's your system Thursday. Clear it out Friday morning. And right now, your weekend looks okay.
Thank you, Steve. Thanksgiving is next week. According to AAA, some 82 million people are expected to travel for the holiday.
Will you, though?
We are driving. We are not flying.
Okay. Well, this comes as the FAA has now ended all the flight reductions that were issued during the government shutdown, and we want to hear from you. So let's go over to Andre Sr. You have our viewer poll of the day.
Dave Gossey, good morning to you both.
Yeah.
This morning we're asking you this: are you traveling for Thanksgiving? Your options are yes, flying, yes, driving, or no, staying local. And right now, many of you are saying you're staying local here, flying, yes, and driving. Those are equal at the moment. Go to ktv.com/vote. Let us know what you think about our question of the day.
All right. As we go to break, take one more look at our poll, and you can start voting. You can scan that QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen. It'll take you to our poll.
In today's Monday morning quarterback, the 49ers put up their best offensive game of the season. Let's look at the videotape. Sky Moore, check out this run. Very first play of the game. Here he goes. No one's going to stop him until, maybe, I don't know, the 8-yard line or maybe the 3-yard line. And Brock Purdy took over from there. He came back from this turf toe injury, got right back to business. George Kittle touchdown. He completed 19 of 26, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. The Niners jumped all over the Cardinals from the start. They never really let up. Cardinals quarterback Jacoby Brissett, though, he set an NFL season record completing 47 passes, so the defense has to tighten up. The Cards, though, they self-destructed. They had 3 turnovers, 17 penalties. The Niners only had 1 penalty. Final 41-22. The LA Rams are alone in first place in the NFC West. They just kind of looked really good yesterday. They took care of Seattle 21-19. Instead of the Rams' offense, their D actually, even though we're showing offense highlights, their D was actually pretty good too. Some would say won them the game. The Rams intercepted Sam Darnold 4 times. So Sam Darnold, doubters, there you go. Head coach Sean McVay says we're never going to apologize for finding ways to win. Let's go overseas for the last international game of the season. The Miami Dolphins face the Washington Commanders in Madrid, Spain. 80,000 fans packed the stadium. The Commanders had their moments, but really they're not a very good team. This game went into overtime. The Dolphins picked off the first pass in OT. There we go. And they kicked the field goal to win it 16-13, and that was the final.
7:47 here. A man accused of killing the athletic director at Laney College, John Beam, is set to make his first court appearance this week. Prosecutors say 27-year-old Cedric Irving shot and killed a longtime football coach on the Laney campus Thursday. No word yet on a motive, but police are calling it a very targeted attack. Irving is set to be arraigned tomorrow. The shooting death of Coach Beam came days before a gun buyback event in Oakland this weekend. Dozens of people turned in their guns at the 3rd annual Guns to Gardens buyback at Mount Zion Baptist Church on Willow Street. They received gift cards and gardening tools made from weapons that had been melted down following earlier weapon buybacks.
Our thoughts and prayers, of course, and our condolences and love go out to his family, his friend, our entire city. Coach Beam was loved and knew everyone in Oakland.
Mourners continue to leave flowers, candles, and cards at the scene of Thursday's shooting at Laney. Coach Beam spent more than 4 decades helping young East Bay athletes succeed on and off the field.
Making sure that they stayed on the right track, made sure that they did all the right things, and they all made sure that they all went to college, and they did.
Beam began his Bay Area coaching career at Skyline High in 1982 and then coached at Laney. He was in the national spotlight following his appearance in the Netflix documentary series Last Chance U. 7:48, you'll soon be able to buy a car on Amazon.
Really?
And investors are keeping an eye on NVIDIA this week.
Well, Pam Cook knows all about it. She has all the details in dollars and cents.
Yes, good morning again. Talking about a few things investors are watching for a few important reports this week, including earnings from NVIDIA and also the September jobs report. Now, we're in November, but we're getting the September jobs report because the monthly jobs report is late. It was not released during the government shutdown, so we'll look for that this week. As the opening bell rang this morning, shares in Alphabet jumped almost 5% after word that Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway took a stake in the company. Alphabet is the parent company of Google and YouTube. Taking a live look at the markets, a little bit of a mixed picture. The Dow Jones down just a little bit, as you can see. The S&P 500 has been fluctuating a little bit up or a little bit down. It's basically unchanged at this hour, and the Nasdaq is posting a little bit of a gain this morning. Social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, has launched encrypted messaging. The new chat function will allow users to send disappearing messages and let users have more protected video and phone calls. Now, it replaces the messaging system previously used on the website. However, some users are worried that this will allow cyberbullying and hate messages to be easily spread without any trace or accountability. This morning, Ford announced an agreement with Amazon to sell some of its pre-owned vehicles online. The new program will allow customers to secure financing, start that paperwork, and schedule a pickup time for those vehicles at participating Ford dealers through the Amazon website. However, a final signature to seal the deal will still have to be done in person. This does allow Ford dealers to better compete with CarMax and Carvana. And the final U.S. pennies, stamped just last week, will be worth far more than 1 cent. Several of the final pennies will go up for auction next month. The 5 last pennies have a special omega symbol to mark their status as the final printing. Rare coin collectors predict those pennies could sell for $2 to $5 million each. Pennies have been made in Philadelphia since 1793, but President Trump ordered an end to their minting back in February due to high production costs. I'm Pam Cook. That's a look at your dollars and cents.
It's 7:51. San Francisco is a mess. If you're trying to drive into San Francisco, I would strongly consider perhaps using BART or doing something. Because of a variety of things, both directions of 101 are just a mess. Not even 280 so much. 280 is slow, but 101 is really a parking lot. Part of it is we had a truck crash, a big rig, eastbound, getting onto the Bay Bridge, eastbound, going toward Oakland. So if you're trying to get to Oakland from San Francisco, good luck. And westbound, we had an earlier crash that cleared up, but it left its mark on the Bay Bridge. That is actually not as bad as I thought, but it's still very slow. You look at Highway 24, still not recovered from some earlier issues, and 680 is slow. There's a crash now near Diablo Road on southbound 680 in Danville, so driving from Alamo heading south is not good. So, really a lot of places are slow, and that, I think, has a lot to do with the weather. Speaking of the weather, the man who always uses his turn signals, Mr. Steve Paulson.
Who came in, Sal? Somebody. I do use my turn signals, Sal. I do. Thank you, sir. All right. 2 systems this week. One was last night. Now the low is coming in this afternoon. It'll be right over your house and mine. Temps are cool. This will be one of the cooler days we've had for a while. There'll be another one on Thursday, almost identical. And then after that, we should get a break for a little bit. 30s on the temps. Reno's 39, Truckee 36, South Lake Tahoe 35. There is a winter weather advisory out there, but last check it was raining at South Lake Tahoe. It was raining at Blue Canyon. Eventually, this colder air will get there, which should lower the snow level. I'll be optimistic and say 4,800 feet to 5,800 feet by this afternoon. The heavier snow totals will be by far above 7,000 feet. We're getting a little bit of a break to the north, and that's kind of what the forecast models are hinting at, is that upper low swings and a lot of moisture on the peninsula, San Mateo Coast, Peninsula, East Bay, and no doubt about it, Santa Cruz Mountains and Santa Clara Valley. That's the highlight for the heavier amounts, with a lot lesser, especially Marin County North. There's not much up there. But the next system looks like it'll be here on Thursday, and it'll do just almost exactly the same thing. It'll drop in, give us another quick shot of some rain. I think the combination this week, about a ½ inch to an inch and a quarter, inch and a half should cover it. Then it does look like we'll get a break. Sort of a stormy Monday. Possible thunderstorms. There's a cold system coming in later today, so mostly cloudy skies. 50s, 60s on the temps. This is one of those days where inland temps really are below average. Coast and Bay are kind of close. We'll get a break Tuesday, Wednesday. There's your system Thursday into early Friday. Then right now, Dave, the weekend looks okay.
All right, Steve, thank you. Time now, 7:53. Universities around the country seeing fewer international students. The reason for that, and could this be the start of an even bigger drop? And some California Republicans are moving away from President Trump's immigration crackdown. Up next at 8, the demographic that's pulling away from their party's policies. Welcome back to Mornings on 2. Time is 7:56. President Trump now reversing course. Now he wants House Republicans to vote to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. Now, previously, President Trump fought against that proposal. A vote could take place as early as tomorrow, and House Speaker Mike Johnson says he expects the House to decisively support the Epstein bill.
Democrats think that they may have a smoking gun with Donald Trump in their sights. Republicans think they may have a smoking gun with somebody like a Bill Clinton in their sights. There are probably no winners in these papers.
Now, several House Republicans are expected to support the bill, but it would still have to be approved by the U.S. Senate. Well, almost 3 years after a deadline, one Bay Area county and 3 cities still have not received state approval of their housing plans. California gave communities across the state a deadline of January 31st, 2023 to create a proposal to create more housing. However, the Bay Area News Group says San Mateo County, along with the cities of Belvedere, Clayton, and Half Moon Bay, have not received approvals. Potential penalties include fines, no state grants, and California taking over land use and zoning decisions. Well, there's new data out suggesting more Americans plan to hit the road in RVs to avoid air travel headaches. The RV Industry Association released a survey that shows 28 million Americans plan to travel by recreational vehicles this winter. That includes about 9 million during Thanksgiving, about 7 million for Christmas and New Year's. Blue Compass, a company that makes RVs, says sales of used vehicles spiked 20% in the past few months. Well, the winter-damaged Santa Cruz Wharf will be undergoing repairs in the coming weeks. Last winter's heavy waves slammed and damaged the southern part of that wharf. Santa Cruz leaders say all the businesses there, they'll stay open during construction. It's expected to be finished by next year in February. And happening today, the city of Emeryville is hosting an event to pass out healthy meals to hungry students and their families. The event today is a response to the recent disruption of food and benefits during the government shutdown. It begins at 1:30 this afternoon at the Emeryville Center Community for Life on San Pablo Avenue.
They said he had at least 7 broken ribs on one side.
Well, he was family. He was part of our little family. He was a sweet little dog.
A heartbroken East Bay family mourning the loss of their dog killed in a brutal attack this morning. The search for the owners of the other dog that mauled their Yorkie. California Republicans at odds over immigration sweeps see top groups breaking from the party line. From hundreds of cancellations to less than a handful across Bay Area airports, air travelers change in direction since FAA lifted flight restrictions.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
All right, welcome to Mornings on 2 at 8 o'clock. Look live this morning at San Francisco. Overcast skies continue from this weekend. It looks like it'll be that way today as well. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andre Sr.
Good morning. I'm Gassia Mikaelian. It's Monday, November 17th. Still gray behind us. Lots of rain overnight. Let's see where we're headed. Straight to the Weather Center. Steve, what do you see ahead?
One more day of iffy, then we'll get a break till Thursday.
Okay.
But we'll start up in the mountains. Boy, they could use some snow. Right now, it's really kind of a Sierra cement. It's raining, last check, South Lake Tahoe. Also Blue Canyon. But I think the cold air will eventually get there, even though the low is really going more over us than over them. Kind of quiet to the north, where James Torres is. James, you can go south if you want because there's nothing happening north, but there's plenty happening. San Mateo Coast on the peninsula, a little bit on the East Bay, as well as into the Santa Cruz Mountains and Santa Clara Valley. That'll probably be the main focus for today. 50s on the temps, low to mid. They're just not changing. There's too much cloud cover. It's a colder system, possible thunderstorms. You can see already some lightning strikes. This will keep temperatures today well below average here for some. Yeah, below to near average. But from about Half Moon Bay, Redwood City, Fremont south, looks to be more active today than areas north. I'll buy that. Sort of a stormy Monday. Mostly cloudy, cooler, often on rain, possible thunderstorms, temps below average, which means upper 50s to low 60s. Sal's here. He could do 5 minutes, but he can't, so he'll start with
Marin, but I'll do San Francisco too. I'll do the South Bay. Let's start with a look at all the slow traffic we have. Southbound 101 is really slow because of a crash at Sir Francis Drake. San Francisco is a mess out of South City because of a truck accident right near the Bay Bridge on East 80. Boy, it's just a mess. I would not be driving on 101 in San Francisco. Bay Bridge recovering. We had an earlier crash. And westbound 24 is still very slow from Lafayette all the way into Oakland. We also had an earlier crash there. Almost everywhere is super slow. I can't possibly get to everything, but you know what you're dealing with out there. It's a rainy commute. 8:02. Let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. The FAA today lifted all flight cuts at the nation's largest airports ordered during the government shutdown.
And this comes just in time for the Thanksgiving holiday. KTVU's Devin Truby is talking to passengers at SFO this morning. I'm sure, Devin, people are relieved to hear this.
Absolutely they are, Andre, but the question is, were enough of those delays and cancellations enough to kind of put people away from air travel for the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, or maybe did they cancel in advance not knowing if this was all going to clear up? Well, according to AAA, we're actually set for another record-setting Thanksgiving holiday travel time period. 82 million people are expected to travel for the holiday. That's 1.6 million more than last Thanksgiving, setting that new overall record. This is also more people than traveled pre-pandemic back in 2019. However, 1.3 million people are going to be traveling by car this year. That's more than last year. So maybe some travelers didn't want to take that risk. It's been a pretty mixed reaction from passengers here at SFO.
Definitely is on my mind, but not overly. I'm not as worried as I would have been a few weeks ago. I was flying with my parents here and they were ready to cancel. I was not quite as worried as they were.
Airlines like American and Delta have posted on their social media saying things are back to normal. If you fly Southwest like myself, you got that nice email letter this morning saying that they're ready to help you through the holiday travel season. I'll be chatting with AAA here in the next hour. We're going to find out if any of those travel trends have changed and if the more people traveling by cars has anything to do with that government shutdown and those delays and cancellations. Reporting live at SFO, Devin Truby, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, Devin, thank you. And Thanksgiving, of course, next week. AAA says about 82 million people are expected to travel for the holiday. And this morning we're asking, are you traveling for Thanksgiving? Your options are yes, I'm flying. The other is yes, I'm driving, or no, I'm staying local. 78% of you say you're staying local. 13% of you say you're driving. 9% of you say you're flying. Scan the QR code, top right-hand corner of your screen, and go to ktvu.com/vote. Let us know what you think. A new study is finding Republicans in California are more divided over President Trump's immigration policies. UCLA found more Republican women and younger Hispanic Republicans ages 18 to 25 do not agree with the president's latest crackdown. Nearly half of Latino Republicans disagree with deporting immigrants who have lived in the country for a long time. President Trump gained a significant amount of Latino voters that helped him get reelected last year. But Democratic candidates also made gains with the same group earlier this month, which means those voters could be shifting away from the GOP.
Students, staff, and families at a long-standing bilingual and bicultural charter school in East San Jose are trying to keep it from closing. Escuela Popular is facing a threat of closure because of state teacher credentialing and compliance requirements. Members of the school community say it's a much-needed resource because it helps students learn in both English and Spanish. The school also has an intensive English development program to help students graduate. Supporters are holding an event today to help keep the school open. Some 40,000 patient care and service workers at all UC hospitals plan to go on strike today. Union leaders say low pay and long commutes have driven many workers from the job, and negotiations have stalled since April. The university calls the strike an unreasonable attempt to be pressured into higher wages and better benefits, but says it remains hopeful for a fair agreement, one that supports employees and the university's mission. The workers are hoping to reach a deal similar to the one reached with University of California nurses. That union called off plans to strike after reaching a tentative 4-year contract agreement with the university system. The deal announced yesterday covers 25,000 registered nurses across nearly 20 UC locations. It includes improved pay, benefits, and patient protections. Negotiations had been ongoing since June.
Well, more accusations being levied against the former chief of staff of Governor Gavin Newsom, who was recently arrested on federal conspiracy and fraud charges. Federal prosecutors accuse Dana Williamson of pressuring the state to reach a settlement in a sexual harassment lawsuit with the company for which she lobbied. The state sued the video game company, Activision Blizzard, accusing it of building a frat boy culture that led to harassment and discrimination against women. Williamson is also accused of trying to steal hundreds of thousands of dollars from Javier Becerra's campaign. President Trump's newly appointed ambassador to Greece says she still has a great relationship with her former husband, now California's Governor Gavin Newsom, of course. Kimberly Guilfoyle told a Greek TV station she still considers Newsom a close friend despite her ties to the Trump administration. They were married from 2001 to 2006. However, Guilfoyle had nothing to say about her ex-fiancé and the president's son, Donald Trump Jr. He reportedly played a role in her getting her job as America's top diplomat in Greece.
A family in Antioch is mourning the death of its dog that was killed while out for a walk. The Yorkie named Benji was mauled to death by 3 larger dogs 2 weeks ago. One man says the attack happened in seconds close to the family home and that he was hurt trying to save the dog.
He jumped on the dog and I tried to pull him away and then got towards the street, and I tried to run to make a little distance between them and me, and that's when I tripped. I tripped and fell, and then I hit my knee and my elbow, and I broke my elbow.
Antioch police say they're still searching for the owner of the 3 dogs that killed Benji and say they think someone rounded up the dogs and left before officers arrived at the scene of the attack. Police want to hear from anyone who can help them with this case.
All right, 8:08 is your time. It's another wet morning, and while conditions have calmed in some areas, there was some intense rain overnight. Video from Richmond shows heavy rain coming down and water pooling on streets, causing problems, of course, for drivers. And there are many reports of flooded roads. This video from Oakland shows flooding at the foot of the on-ramp to 880 from Jackson Street. There was also flooding on other surface streets and the ramp from 580 to Highway 24. Now to Hayward, a viewer sent us this video. It was taken just around midnight, and you could see how heavy that rain was coming down there. And at one point, the National Weather Service was warning of the possibility of hail in the South Bay State.
Time now is 8:08, and we do have a lot to talk about. Let's get right to it here. I want to show you that traffic is going to be slow as you're driving in Marin County, you're driving in East Bay, driving on the East Shore, everywhere because of earlier crashes. And when the crash is clear, there's still a big backup left. South Bay commute has not been so full strength, so that's probably the better commute considering the type of day it is. San Francisco, northbound 101 is backed up out of South City all the way into San Francisco because of a big rig accident near the bridge going toward Oakland. And 880 is a mess northbound. There's a crash near Davis Street, so right near the Coliseum we have a bunch of slow traffic. Really, we could be here for a long time. We have a lot of slow traffic everywhere. Make sure you leave extra time. 8:09, let's get back to the desk.
All right, thank you so much. As the U.S. escalates its military campaign off Venezuela's coast, President Trump is now teasing a possible diplomatic opening. What he says about the possibility of talks between both countries.
49ers quarterback Brock Purdy back in the game. You'll hear from the team after a win against a division rival.
Jacoby and Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby and Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
Time now is 8:13. Some of the stories we're following for you this morning. President Trump reversing course now and saying House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files. The president previously pushed back against the proposal. A vote could happen as early as tomorrow. Speaker Mike Johnson says he expects the House will decisively back the Epstein bill. A number of House Republicans are expected to back the bill, but it would still have to be approved by the Senate. President Trump may have a discussion with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. It comes as USS Gerald Ford arrives in the Caribbean. The Trump administration has carried out numerous strikes on suspected drug vessels, killing more than 80 people. President Trump has not said when the conversation with Maduro could take place.
A man accused of killing a Laney College athletic director, John Beam, is due in court for arraignment tomorrow. Police say Cedric Irving did not have a relationship with Beam. Investigators have not given a possible motive. They're calling it a very targeted attack.
Well, at San Francisco City Hall, there's now a memorial to remember the lives of pedestrians who were killed this year in crashes. The group Walk SF says the memorial is in honor of World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims. Portraits of victims are displayed at a temporary altar. One speaker said the advocate for safer streets as a tribute to people who were killed in crashes.
We can show what's possible. We already are. Speed cameras, laws that allow lower speed limits and cut red tape for safety projects, the new Street Safety Act, daylighting intersections, and redesigning dangerous streets.
11 of the 19 people killed this year in San Francisco traffic crashes were pedestrians.
Palo Alto now has a new public safety building. The city held a ribbon cutting for the $123 million facility on Sherman Avenue. It's home to the police department, fire department, administration, 911 dispatch center, Office of Emergency Services, and the Emergency Operations Center. The new safety building is designed to improve emergency response and enhance services for Palo Alto and Stanford. Today, the Marin County Elections Department will begin a manual count of votes cast during California's recent special election. Manual tally of Prop 50 votes is expected to begin in the coming hours. The Registrar of Voters will then spend the next 2 weeks certifying the votes as required by state law for all California counties. California voters approved Prop 50. It redraws the state's congressional maps to favor Democrats in response to similar moves by Republicans in Texas. Well, 49ers fans are celebrating their team's big victory on the road.
Yeah, quarterback Brock Purdy successfully returned to the field this weekend to lead the 49ers to a dominant victory over the Arizona Cardinals, 41-22 at State Farm Stadium in Glendale. The Niners starting quarterback has missed most of the season due to a turf toe injury. Backup QB Mac Jones stepped in and impressed many of the team's fans, but yesterday Purdy did not look rusty at all as he returned as the leader of the offense. Purdy threw for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions against the Cardinals. He was thrilled to be back in action to defeat a team from his home state of Arizona.
I would just say a lot of excitement. You know, I'm always excited every Sunday, but, you know, to come back, I missed 6 weeks, and then my comeback game is here in Arizona where I grew up, so I just thought it was pretty special. But it's football. I've been here before, and I was just trying to settle back into, you know, who I am and how I play quarterback.
Purdy was just 1 star in a great game for the team's offense. Running back Christian McCaffrey scored 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 in the air. Tight end George Kittle scored twice and was the team's leading receiver. Coach Kyle Shanahan had high praise for the entire offense in what he viewed as a must-win game for the red and gold.
The man check, and we had Christian and George both sides, and I think both of them beat their man, and Brock worked away from the safety. Great route, threw a real good ball, great protection.
However, the Niners did not escape Arizona unscathed. The star kicker, Eddie Pinheiro, suffered a hamstring injury in the 3rd quarter and will undergo medical tests later today. The 49ers, by the way, will host the Carolina Panthers at Levi Stadium next Monday night.
All right, just got a new crash reported on Highway 24. We did not need that. Eastbound 24 at Fish Ranch. That one just came in, but there were problems westbound. The whole East Bay is slow. But by far the biggest thing we have going is 101. There was a truck that hit the sidewall, East 80, right near the Hall of Justice in San Francisco. Traffic on 101 is backed up out of South City. 280 is also slow, and coming into San Francisco is slow as well. That's not the only thing, of course. The East Bay, 580 and 880 have slow traffic. Westbound 580, right near Edwards, there's a crash, and we've had a lot of slow traffic almost everywhere you look. And flooding, too. So this is my advice to you. Take it easy out there. Give yourself plenty of time. And if you can, you might want to think about using transit. 8:17. Let's bring Steve back with today's weather.
Sal, thank you. Our very strong cold front blasted through overnight and is now pushed well off to the east. Now we're getting the colder, unstable air behind it. Although it doesn't look like there's much going on to the north, no doubt about it, the upper low will be over us later today, but it seems to want to favor areas a little bit more towards the peninsula, San Mateo Coast Peninsula, Santa Cruz Mountains, and areas south more so than north. So that's kind of the theme here. You can see about Marin County, southeast Bay, a little bit there, but more active certainly to the south along the San Mateo Coast Peninsula and over towards San Jose, Santa Cruz Mountain, Santa Clara Valley. It looks to be more active today. Some rainfall totals. Mount Veeder, almost 2 3/4. 2 sites in Oakland, one off International Boulevard, the other one off 66, 2 1/3. West Healdsburg over 2, Cazadero over 2. Mount Tamalpais with 2 1/4. Other locations including Sausalito, Terra Linda, Mill Valley, and San Rafael, all between 1 inch to over 1.5 inches. Boulder Creek, 185. Pacifica, 1 3/4. Richmond, almost 1.5 inches. Santa Rosa, 1 1/3. Yountville, over 1 inch. And Hayward was close at 98 100ths. Other locations, Ben Lomond, 2 1/4. Calistoga, 183. SFO, 1.23. South City had just over 1 inch. Berkeley, 86 100ths. Napa, San Francisco, Petaluma, and San Ramon, all over 3/4 inch. 50s on the temps, everybody's within a degree or two. Unfortunately, it's been rain up in the mountains at Truckee, South Lake Tahoe, at least last check. Some cold air will eventually make it there by later this afternoon tonight, which should get that snow level down to around 5,000. I'll say Blue Canyon, Twin Bridges. I think south of that, it's not going to happen. But north of that, it is. But it's a wet Sierra cement up there. The upper low will be over us. That could fire up some thunderstorms later today. We'll need some sun breaks in order for that to happen. But to the north, there's really not much happening. This is all about Half Moon Bay, Redwood City, Fremont south for later today. A break Tuesday, Wednesday. One more system Thursday. It'll be similar to what we're having today. Initial cold front, then a cold upper low will go right over us. After that, the weekend looks okay. Sort of a stormy Monday. It's a cool one, that's for sure. Upper 50s, low 60s. Temps below average. Some off and on rain, although the heaviest has gone through. 50s and 60s, that's it. We're a little bit below average on these temps. After the Thursday, maybe early Friday system, right now looks drier, but kind of cool for your weekend.
Thank you, Steve. Online shopping giant Amazon is entering the used car market. Details on its partnership with Ford.
And we're still in autumn, but we're already thinking about summer and next year's zip trips. Leading to it, we're doing something different. Instead of us picking the cities, we want to hear from you. Tell us why your hometown should be our next zip trip destination. Just scan the QR code and record a video or send a few photos telling us all about your city, and we could choose it for next year's zip trip lineup. We'll be right back. 8:23 is your time. You'll soon be able to buy a car on Amazon, and investors are keeping an eye on NVIDIA this week.
It's a busy Monday for Pam Cook. She ran upstairs to look at this and more in dollars and cents.
Yes, keeping an eye on a few things. Get to Ford in a second. Investors are watching for a few important reports this week, including earnings from NVIDIA. We're also going to get the September jobs report. Now, the monthly jobs report is late because it was not released during the government shutdown. So that's September jobs report coming out this week. As the opening bell rang this morning, shares in Alphabet jumped almost 5% after word that Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway took a stake in the company. Alphabet is the parent company of Google and YouTube. All right, taking a live look at the numbers. It has been a bit of a mixed picture, but boy, in the last hour, the Dow Jones took a big drop. It is now down almost 0.5%, 230 points or so. No huge reason why that is happening, but the S&P 500 down about 0.5%, the NASDAQ down about 0.5%, just still some instability in the markets. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos is launching an AI startup. The New York Times reports his new company will start with an estimated $6.2 billion. Much of that comes from Bezos' personal fortune. It will reportedly focus on AI that will lead to significant advances in computers, aerospace, and transportation. No word yet on where the company will be based. It is Bezos' first big project since he stepped down as Amazon CEO in 2021. And this morning, Ford announced an agreement with Amazon to sell some of its pre-owned vehicles online. The new program will allow customers to secure financing, start that paperwork, and schedule a pickup time for the vehicle at participating Ford dealers through Amazon's website. However, a final signature to seal the deal will still have to be done in person, and this does allow Ford dealers to better compete with CarMax and Carvana. Good news for Boeing. Emirates announced this morning it is ordering 65 of the plane maker's massive new 777-9 planes. Those planes hold more than 400 passengers. They are meant to compete with other large planes like the Airbus A380. The deal could be worth as much as $38 billion for Boeing, but it does put some new pressure on Boeing to deliver those new 777 planes, which have faced delays in testing and development. The planes are expected to be delivered in 2027. I'm Pam Cook. That's a look at your dollars and cents.
Pam, thank you. Coming up, a slight but noticeable change as Pope Leo continues the Vatican's outreach to the LGBTQ plus community. Why the seating arrangement was under scrutiny and what some say it could signal. Plus,
it's terrifying to pretty much know that at any moment a federal agent can just come out and abuse you just because of the way you look.
The ongoing immigration crackdown reaches a new city. What we're learning about the people detained by federal agents.
was 14 years old.
I was 16 years old.
I was 16.
17.
14 years old. This is me.
This was me.
This is me.
When I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me.
Victims of Jeffrey Epstein speaking out in a new way. What they're calling for now is the president reverses course and says he wants the Epstein files to be released. We'll examine the late changes to this long-running case. Then back to the weather. It is a big story once again today. A live look up in the North Bay, Santa Rosa, slick streets, not a ton of rain coming down at the moment. We've been through the worst of it, and that fell overnight. We'll examine the effect it's leaving behind for your Monday morning and see when we'll return to drier days ahead.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Gassia Vikayelia.
I'm Andre Sr. It's November 17th. Cloudy skies, windy too. Let's check in with Steve Paulson right away because a lot of people want to know what it's going to be like for the rest of this Monday. Hey, Steve.
Mostly cloudy. And the main rain was overnight, but we'll still get some activity later today. Up in the mountains, we're hoping this turns to snow. It is at higher elevations, but lake level has been a mix of some rain and snow. I do think the cold air will make it in there eventually, so it should get down to about Blue Canyon, maybe Twin Bridges on 50 and 80 is kind of the way it looks. But, you know, we're waiting for that colder air, and there's definitely colder air. Question is, will it make it up there? It's going to be over us later today, which will pick up some activity. North Bay's kind of quieted down a little bit, but South Peninsula, San Mateo Coast, parts of East Bay, and San Jose, Santa Clara Valley, a little bit more active, and I think that'll be the focus for today. 50s on the temps under mostly cloudy skies. There's a couple of sun breaks in there, but that might help trigger some thunderstorms. Pretty good cold air coming in, but the system is no doubt swinging a little more south. So Half Moon Bay, Redwood City, Fremont looks to be more active south than areas north. So sort of a stormy Monday, no doubt cool. The temperatures upper 50s for many today, off and on rain, but the main front already went through, but it will be a cool day for this time of year, 50s and low 60s. South sheer, better, same, worse, oh no.
It's just not very good, Steve. You know, almost everywhere you look, I've been just kind of scrolling around. 580 is slow coming out of San Leandro to Oakland. I don't know, but by far, the worst thing is that truck that got into a wreck eastbound 80 right before you get onto the bridge. It's a big rig, and northbound 101 is backed up out of South City. 280 is very slow as well. I wouldn't drive into San Francisco right now on 101. I would, you know, perhaps I would use different roads or use transit, use Muni, whatever it takes to get off those roads. Southbound 880 is very slow. We have a brand new crash just came in. Southbound 680 a treat. That one just popped up in Walnut Creek area. 8:31, let's get back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. It's another stormy day all across the Bay Area.
Yeah, KTVU's James Torres is live in Santa Rosa tracking the weather conditions as they move through this morning. James.
You know, I think Santa Rosa might be in the clear now this morning. We have seen nothing but, for the most part, blue skies since we've been here, and that was only pretty much after the sun rose. Before that and overnight, that's when the rain really started coming down hard. I mean, it might have woken you up in the middle of the night, too. We'll show you what some of the cameras caught earlier today. That's when some cars were driving through puddles of standing water, and the experts surely will tell you, don't do that. Whenever you see water and puddles of water, avoid driving through it. It's much too dangerous of a risk. In Healdsburg, a big tree came down along Dry Creek Road. It closed the roadway for hours as the fire department worked to get it clear.
We had about a half an hour, 45 minutes of intense wind. You can see a lot of debris on the 101. Resulted in a couple of accidents, as well as multiple trees down, one tree down into a house. We've been able to respond. Thankfully, no one injured in any of those calls.
Firefighters say that tree that crashed into the home only caused minor damage, not much to worry about there. They say they are on call to respond to any other emergencies. Luckily, though, we haven't heard much news about other major emergencies this morning. Beyond that, there are some reports of flash flooding earlier this morning. Those usually dissipate right away, and some solo vehicle crashes along those freeways. And this is just the start of what is set to be a pretty wet weekend. You can expect at least 2 more days of rain this week. We are live this morning in Santa Rosa. I'm James Torres, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
This was me.
This is me.
When I met Jeffrey Epstein.
It's time to bring the secrets out of the shadows. It's time to shine a light into the darkness.
Well, survivors of Jeffrey Epstein are out with a new PSA calling on Congress to unshackle the archives. It comes as the House of Representatives is gearing up for a high-stakes vote on whether to release thousands of documents tied to Epstein's criminal case. President Trump also reversed course, declaring his support for releasing the files. To break down what will unfold this week on Capitol Hill, we're joined by Catherine Lavery, chair of the Department of Criminal Justice and Security at Pace University. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so tell us, the president now says he can release these files, he wants the House to release them, but he can release them himself, right? Is that my understanding?
He can, but it would do better for the vote to occur and then for it to be done through Congress and not handled through the executive branch, just because of issues of potential cover-ups or things that could be removed. With Congress, it needs to be released as is.
All right, so what would happen next here in this process for that to happen? It goes before the House, they vote to release it, then how does it work its way through the process?
So what's going to happen is they already have the numbers for the vote. So the vote will be done, I believe, tomorrow officially. Then it's going to move to be an act. So it's going to be, I believe, entitled the Epstein Transparency Files Act. That will be voted on in early December, and then that will be when everything will be released.
And then the president, and then the president has to sign off on the release of this?
Correct.
Can he make any changes before it's released to the public?
No, if it's going to be released, it's got to be released. I mean, it's possible Congress may set certain details to it, how many pages, that kind of thing, but I really don't think they're in a place right now to do that. I think right now the voters are demanding transparency, and we've seen the U-turn with President Trump. Now he wants everything released. So I think they're just getting ready for what's about to come out.
Did that surprise you that the president had this about face when he posted on Truth Social that he said, hey, go ahead, release these files?
Yes, I do. I was very shocked by it, but I also see the reason being. I think with Marjorie Taylor Greene, that was looked to be a distraction or a deflection, but that did not do well. And I think now that they've released some emails with Steve Bannon and Michael Wolff, it's now really pointing to more of the inner core of people who have worked with the president. So I think this was the best course for him to do.
So, you might remember, several months ago, he was shutting this whole thing down when people were calling for it. But then we had even people in his own party, Marjorie Taylor Greene being one of them. But there are other Republicans in the party that have been pushing for this to be released. It's one of the cornerstones of his campaign. So now that it's this close, do you think that he's saying, OK, release it because there's either he's asked for the DOJ to look into Democrats into this, or that he just doesn't think there's anything that will affect him?
I think he believes, and of course I'm just surmising this, he believes that nothing will come back to touch him. I think one of the primary issues are the midterms. And you are seeing now Republicans getting scared if they don't side with what voters want, which is the release. I think they feel like there's no other alternative. And the fact that we've seen the deflection with Marjorie Taylor Greene, also the call to investigate Democrats, the call to investigate celebrities, it just appeared like everything was piling up as a way of not stepping up to the plate with this. So by him allowing this, he at least is looking at he is stepping up to the plate.
So this is strategy.
Yeah, I believe it's strategy. Absolutely. I think what we've been seeing is something called elite complicity. You see these people in power with wealth and money trying to make something work their way, but they know this can be very damaging. And so they have to make a decision which way to pivot. And I think for President Trump, this is the only way for him to pivot right now.
All right. There could be a vote coming up tomorrow in the House. Catherine Lavery from Pace University, thank you for your insight into this, and we'll see if it plays out and how it plays out in the coming days and weeks ahead. Appreciate it.
Yes, we will. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure.
8:38, the Trump administration says it'll require millions of low-income people to reapply for SNAP benefits as part of an effort to crack down on fraud. SNAP beneficiaries are already required to recertify their application information every 6 to 12 months, updating their work history and income to see if they still qualify. Meanwhile, many families who receive food assistance are still struggling to get by with partial payments.
Because of we were out of everything, I pretty much spent just about all we had. I try to buy enough to last us at least, for 2 or 3 weeks.
About 1 in 8 Americans receives food benefits of $190 a month on average. Pope Leo continued a tradition that began under his predecessor, Pope Francis, to host an event for members of the LGBTQ+ community. Pope Leo invited 48 transgender women to lunch at the Vatican this weekend, with one big difference this year. There were no transgender women seated at the Pope's table, unlike in years past. Some Vatican observers say this could be a sign Pope Leo will be more restrained than Pope Francis in his dealing with the LGBTQ+ community.
Well, our system, give it credit for the cold front that came through early this morning. Now we're getting the colder, unstable air. Some thunderstorm lightnings and strikes have been popping up hither and yon, but the upper low will be right over the Bay Area, although the coldest air may not make it to the Sierra Nevada. That's my one concern, but at least the cold front is providing some activity up in the mountains, but so far it's been mainly rain. We will get a combination. There you go. That's the beauty right there. You can see, but I think the majority of this is heading more south of San Francisco later today, more towards the San Mateo Coast, Peninsula, and the San Jose area, Santa Clara Valley, and Santa Cruz Mountains. Not as much north and east, but everyone's certainly in the mix today when you get this kind of a cold core system in there. Let's take a look at the rain totals. That's what everyone wants to see. Mount Veeder, 2.71. Oakland, 66th Avenue International. Both spots had 2 1/3. West Healdsburg over 2. Cazadero over 2. Mount Tamalpais over 2 1/4. Pretty good rainfall. Sausalito, Terra Linda, Mill Valley, and San Rafael all over an inch to over an inch and a half. Boulder Creek, 185. Pacifica, 1.78. Richmond, 1.5 inches. Santa Rosa, 1 1/3. Yountville, an inch. In Hayward, just shy of an inch of rain. Other locations coming in respectable amounts. Ben Lomond, 2 1/4. Calistoga, 1.83. Clear Lake, 1.5 inches. South City with just over an inch of rain. Daly City, 84 100ths. Napa close, and the city 81 100ths. And Livermore picked up a 1/2 inch of rain. 50s on the temps, except Martinez says, hey, we're 49. But there's a lot of 50s in there. This will be a cool day. I would expect activity to pick up, especially south later today. You can see some of the amounts, no doubt. Half Moon Bay, Redwood City, Fremont, south more so than north. When we come back in about 15 minutes, we'll take a look at the next system and the weekend.
All right, Steve, thank you so much. The latest storm moving into Northern California, bringing slippery conditions to the Sierra. A live look now at Interstate 80 near Donner Summit. You can see the snow is coming down in this live picture. Over the last few hours, it started snowing, and now chains are required going over the mountain on Interstate 80. There is a winter weather advisory in effect for the Tahoe area as well. Caltrans is prepared to check cars for chains, snow tires, and four-wheel drive when the conditions change. People out on the roads over the weekend range from first-time snow drivers to veteran chain installers with years of experience.
I just came from Sacramento, so I was just coming to visit some friends. They told me to expect it, but I've never really driven snow, so this is my first time.
It's a little early for heavy traffic because the ski resorts aren't open yet. Once they open, this road turns into a nightmare as far as waiting and waiting and waiting.
CHP says if you head to the mountains, always make sure you have chains with you, as well as a full tank of gas, some blankets, and water in case of an emergency. Universities across the country seeing fewer international students. The reason for that, and could this be the start of an even bigger drop?
And KTVU's annual One Warm Coat Drive is well underway. You can help make sure people in need stay warm this winter. If you're able to donate a new or gently worn coat, please scan the QR code on your screen or head to KTVU.com. You'll see a list of participating drop-off locations. Our One Warm Coat Drive runs until December 14th.
In today's Monday morning quarterback, the 49ers put up their best offensive game of the season. Brock Purdy returns from his turf toe injury, but first, Sky Moore, look at this rundown, or run back, I should say, from the kickoff, opening kickoff. Number 9 is going to go all the way down to the 4-yard line, or maybe the 2-yard line. Brock Purdy would take it in. He completed 19 of 26 passes. Look at that one to George Kittle. 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. The Niners jumped all over the Cards and really never let up. Cardinals quarterback Jacoby Brissett set an NFL regular season record. He completed 47 passes, but the Cards always seem to self-destruct. There's a touchdown to McCaffrey. The 49ers had 1 penalty. The Cards had 17. The final was 41-22. The LA Rams are alone in first place in the NFC West. And even though we're showing a lot of these offensive highlights, the defense for the Rams also played really well, taking care of the Seahawks 21-19. The Rams intercepted Sam Darnold 4 times. The people talking trash about Darnold may have something to work with there. Head coach Sean McVay said, we're never going to apologize for being able to find ways to win. And again, offense and defense, balanced attack. Let's go overseas to this game here, the Miami Dolphins and the Washington Commanders. There goes one of the plays there. This was being played in Spain. And the game was pretty exciting. These teams are not going to the playoffs, but they still gave the overseas crowd. Look at this. This was picked off in overtime. The Dolphins would go on to win 16-13. And again, this was played in Spain.
All right, thank you so much. Time now is 8:47. Just this morning, the FAA ended all flight restrictions and reductions at 40 major U.S. airports now that the government has reopened. Those airports include SFO and Oakland International. The FAA says this emergency order is designed to reduce the mass cancellations and flight delays that took place during the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. However, travel experts predict it will take some time for air travel to get back to normal.
Possible continuation of delays because of the backlog, because of all the flights that were canceled. I don't think that we will see a level of normalcy for at least, 4 to 8 weeks, which is closer to the end of the year.
Well, it comes as AAA is expecting a record-breaking Thanksgiving travel holiday season. It released figures this morning projecting 81 million people will travel at least 50 miles from home during the period between Tuesday, November 25th and Monday, December 1st.
A man accused of killing the athletic director at Laney College, John Beam, is set to make his first court appearance this week. Prosecutors say 27-year-old Cedric Irving shot and killed a longtime coach on the Laney campus Thursday. No word yet on a motive, but police are calling it a very targeted attack. Irving set to be arraigned tomorrow. The shooting death of Coach Beam came days before a gun buyback event in Oakland this weekend. Dozens turned in their guns at the 3rd annual Guns to Gardens buyback at Mount Zion Baptist Church on Willow Street. They received gift cards and gardening tools made from weapons that had been melted down following earlier weapon buybacks.
Our thoughts and prayers, of course, and our condolences and love go out to his family, his friend, our entire city. Coach Beam was loved and knew everyone in Oakland.
Mourners continue to leave flowers, candles, and cards at the scene of Thursday's shooting on the Laney College campus. Coach Beam spent more than 4 decades helping young East Bay athletes succeed on and off the field.
Making sure that they stayed on the right track, made sure that they did all the right things, and they all made sure that they all went to college, and they did.
Beam began his Bay Area coaching career at Skyline High in 1982 and then coached at Laney. He was in the national spotlight following his appearance in the Netflix documentary series Last Chance U.
One of Beam's former players who is now in the NFL honored him on the field. Deshaun Wright is a quarterback with the Chicago Bears. He intercepted a pass in Sunday's victory against the Minnesota Vikings. Wright then went to the field, the back end of the end zone, in fact, and dropped to his knees and lowered his head. This is it here. Teammates hugged him and helped him to his feet. Wright, who grew up in East Palo Alto, played for Coach Beam at Laney College in 2018.
We talk once a week easily. Really at loss for words. My dad was killed in 2017. Beam stepped in as a father figure, a father role. He did a lot for me and my brother, my family.
Wright plans to give the intercepted football to Coach Beam's family. At 10 minutes to 9, new this morning, American colleges are seeing a big drop in international students. The Institute of International Education found the number went down by 17% this fall semester. The colleges surveyed say student visa concerns and travel restrictions are to blame here. Enrollment is expected to drop even more as President Trump's immigration policies continue to cause confusion. University presidents across the country have said they could hurt schools that rely on funding from the tuition from those international students.
More than 80 people were arrested in Charlotte, North Carolina as part of an immigration sweep. The White House says the action is meant to combat crime, but local leaders object and say crime rates in Charlotte have been steadily declining. Immigration rights groups say immigration and customs enforcement agents are illegally detaining scores of law-abiding citizens caught up in the raids.
Friends and family and acquaintances who say that they're not going out, they're having their kids who are citizens go and pick up their clothes and food for them. It's terrifying to pretty much know that at any moment a federal agent can just come out and abuse you just because of the way you look.
Border Patrol officials say the people taken into custody had criminal histories or immigration violations. Some such claims have been found to be false in other cities.
It is 8:51, and it has been a very slow commute, especially in San Francisco along the peninsula. South San Francisco, northbound 101, slow. Getting up into San Francisco, there's a truck accident that's been there all morning. They issued a SIG alert for it. Northbound 101 on the eastbound 80, right before the Bay Bridge, and traffic is slow in Daly City. It's slow on 101. Today's the day to use BART. Bay Bridge recovered after an earlier crash westbound. That's a lot more like normal, and we still have a lot of east-based slow traffic. So, again, please give yourself extra time. The Bay Bridge is not even the worst. It's just backed up here to the maze, and the metering lights are on. 8:52, let's bring Steve back with today's weather.
See a lot of red out there, Sal.
It's very slow.
Yeah, I'll show you green right here. There's plenty of green, although the bulk of it isn't pushed off towards the east. That was the cold front. That was a narrow cold front. That had good rainfall rates. You can see where the activity is. It's not so much to the north. It's more east and south. The upper low will form over us. It will definitely favor areas San Francisco, Oakland, south. But it is a cool one, no doubt. So Half Moon Bay, Redwood City, Fremont, Livermore, South. That looks to be a better opportunity than areas north for later today. There's another system in the pipeline. That'll be here on Thursday. Then after that, we will get a break. The question is for how long. I don't think it'll be too long, but we'll get another system, quick mover, and similar to what we have today. So quick cold front and then some cold air and some off and on rain and kind of a stormy Monday. I mean, it's certainly cool enough. There's not much in the way of wind, but possible thunderstorms, temps near to below average. And most of the rain, though, or thunderstorms would be south, not north. 50s, 60s on the temps. Kind of a break. I don't want to say it'll be clear, but Tuesday, Wednesday, there's your next system. Thursday into early Friday. Right now, the weekend does look better.
All right, Steve, that's good news. Thank you. 8:53 now, new program training teens to become the next wave of influencers. When you join us on the 9, why experts say these skills could open doors far beyond social media. Time now is 8:55. Berkeley Humane looking for animal lovers to offer up a temporary home for pets in its shelter. The nonprofit is in the process of building a new facility, so it's looking for more temporary foster homes for its cats and dogs while the new shelter is under construction.
You could foster for as little as a few days, a couple of weeks, months. We provide all of the supplies. We provide all of the medical care. So you just need to...
He's a playful little thing.
Yep. You need to provide the loving and the time and a little bit of cleanup.
The shelter says foster opportunities are open to everyone.
Nearly 3 years after the deadline, one Bay Area county and 3 cities still haven't received state approval for their housing plans. California gave communities across the state a deadline of January 31st, 2023 to draft a proposal to create more housing. However, the Bay Area News Group reports San Mateo County, along with Belvedere, Clayton, and Half Moon Bay, have not received approval. Potential penalties include fines, no state grants, and California taking over land use and zoning decisions. Now to new data that suggests more Americans plan to hit the road in RVs to avoid air travel headaches. The RV Industry Association released a survey showing 28 million Americans are planning to travel by recreational vehicle this winter. This includes about 9 million during Thanksgiving, about 7 million for Christmas and New Year's. Blue Compass, a company that makes RVs, says sales of used vehicles spiked 20% over the past few months.
Well, the winter-damaged Santa Cruz Wharf, it's set to undergo repairs now in the coming weeks. Last winter's heavy waves slammed and damaged the southern end of the wharf. Remember, we reported on it at the time. Santa Cruz leaders say all businesses there will stay open during construction, which is expected to be completed by next year in February. Well, the body of a missing 7-year-old girl has been found off the coast near Big Sur. The Monterey County Sheriff's Office says a diver found the body yesterday afternoon. She was found about a half a mile north of her last known location at a state beach there, where she was swept out to sea on Friday. Both her parents went in after her. Her mother made it out, but the father, identified as 39-year-old man from Calgary, Canada, struggled in the water and later died at a hospital. The family issued a statement saying they are thankful for those rescue teams involved and are asking for privacy at this time. Happening today, the city of Emeryville will host a food drive to provide healthy meals to hungry students and their families. The event is in response to the recent disruption of food benefits during the government shutdown. Today's food drive gets underway at 1:30 this afternoon at the Emeryville Center, Community for Life on San Pablo Avenue.
Students in Santa Clara County are outperforming state averages in all core subjects, according to the 2025 California School Dashboard. Nearly 60% met English standards and 53% met math standards, both well above the state average. Science scores also came in higher. The county's chronic absenteeism and suspension rate was also better than the state average. The Santa Clara County Superintendent of Schools called the progress remarkable. A quick peek outside as we'll be right back. Mornings on 2, the 9 starts under gray, cloudy, drizzly skies in just 60 seconds on this Monday morning.